Alright, it's about that time again in the NFL. Free agency is right around the corner. I believe this Friday is when free agency starts. It feels like it's already free agency because of all the moves that have been going on around the league in terms of retirements and trades and things like that. But before I got into that, it's been a while since I made my last video, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the situation that happened when we heard the news about Joe Philbin and how he and Bill Lazor, sorry, I couldn't think of his name for some stupid reason. Joe Philbin and Bill Lazor made their offense, designed their offense literally so that Ryan Tannehill would fail because they had given up faith and trust in him. So, if you give up on your quarterback, then okay, just come out and do it. Don't sit here and try to ruin the guy's career because you don't think it's going to work out. They should have benched him if they didn't think it was going to work out and should have just went with somebody else. It was stupid, and it got me really backing this Adam Gase situation. I was kind of unsure about it before, but now I'm all for it because this guy, everywhere he's gone, like I said in my last video, he has improved quarterback play, has kind of sort of improved offensive play as well in total. So I think it's a really good signing now at this point based on what I've seen. So it's kind of obvious why the organization would want to turn to a guy like Adam Gase and bring him in. It makes a lot of sense now. So as for what else is going on in the league, well, in Dolphins world anyway, they just made a trade with the Eagles and got Kiko Alonso and Byron Maxwell. Now, Kiko Alonso, when healthy, is a really good linebacker. I really like the trade, but I also don't like it, obviously, because he has injury problems. When he plays, he's got to be top 5, top 3 linebackers in the NFL, in my opinion. Byron Maxwell, that's a little different story. That one is super iffy because, I didn't watch Eagles games. I didn't even watch Seahawks games when he was playing and stuff like that. But from what I understand, he was really, really good in Seattle and then didn't pan out for the Eagles last year. Just got burned every single game. But what I also understand is that Billy Davis was running a defense that didn't fit his style of play. I think he had him playing more zone coverage, and he's not a zone guy. I also didn't watch the Bengals, so I don't know if our new defensive coordinator, who is the DB's coach there, is going to run a zone or a man. If you don't run the same kind of scheme that he fits in, then I don't understand why you would want to bring him in. But, who knows, man? I mean, our secondary was terrible last year. He has to be better than Bryce McCain. I mean, come on. Bryce McCain was so bad last year. So bad. And even Brent Grimes, for the most part, was not good at all last year. So, he had a Pro Bowl, but the Pro Bowl is just a popularity contest is all it is. It's not based on skill or anything like that. Brent Grimes was awful last year. Let's just be real. Love the guy. I thought he had a great couple years with us, and it's upsetting to see his decline, and it's upsetting to see him have to go because there's rumors that he's going to be let go. Whether he already has or not, I'm not sure, but I don't think he has yet. So who knows? Maybe he's a slight upgrade from what we have. I'm not really sure. The best part about these moves, though, in my opinion, is that it looks more and more like we're going to be able to take a lineman in the draft and be more comfortable with having to do that to protect Ryan Tannehill because we're going to fill up a couple more of these holes that we have. Kiko Alonso, to me, I think, could be the best signing that we have this offseason. Again, depending on how he does in terms of health. Because, like I said before, he's a really, really good player, and I'm really looking forward to watching this defense go on and play. Now, another signing that we just had was Mario Williams. Oh, man. To me, that seems like it's going to be the end of Cameron Wake. Unfortunately, I have been critical about Cameron Wake's play before in the past. I've said that he is a good player. He's not a great player, which is kind of fair and it's kind of not all at the same time. He's made big plays for us, and a lot of times he's been one of the only consistent kind of guys we've had on defense, but at the same time, when I watch it sometimes, he doesn't seem consistent all the time. It's like one game he'll go out, he'll have like 2.5, 3 sacks in a game, and then go stone cold for the next 4 or 5 games, and then turn it on the next game and have another 2 or 3 sacks in a game. And it's like that to me doesn't say consistency. But we look at the stats at the end of the year, and collectively, when he has 12.5 sacks or 11.5 sacks, however many he gets in a year, it looks like he produces all the time. And sometimes it's not the case. And a lot of times, what has also aggravated me about him too is that sometimes when the game is on the line and we need him to make that play on defense, he doesn't do it. Now again, as a unit, the defense doesn't make the stops that they need to make. But when you're a high-profile player like they say Cameron Wake is, you know, he can't take over a game like a guy like J.J. Watt can. And a lot of guys can't, because J.J. Watt is a monster. He's a freak. He's one of a kind. But, you know, again, maybe sometimes I'm a little too critical on Cameron Wake. All in all, I think he's a great player, and Mario Williams, I think, is definitely a downgrade from Cameron Wake, not just in terms of play on the field, but also in terms of locker room presence. Mario Williams doesn't have any. If I recall correctly, his teammates were publicly saying that he was a horrible teammate and he was all about himself and things like that. And I understand that Miami probably brought him in because he's probably cheaper than bringing Cameron Wake back. But to me, when you bring in a guy like that who's a cancer to your locker room, rather than a guy like Cameron Wake who has been a stand-up guy for you this entire time he's been here, he doesn't get in trouble. He just works. He does his thing. He doesn't talk. He doesn't really do much of anything but go out there and play. And, you know, to me, that doesn't seem like a good signing. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? You know, because the Bills also have a really, really good defensive line. So some people are like, maybe he'll mesh well with Ndamukong Suh and Olivier Vernon and all this other stuff. But they also had Marcel Darius on that defensive line, who obviously isn't as good as Ndamukong Suh is, but is a great defensive tackle in his own right. And the other guy that they just had, their defensive end, number 55, I can't remember his name. He was a monster. I think he was a rookie or second-year player or something like that. He was a monster. And you know, and Mario Williams still wasn't getting production with that defensive line too. Their defensive line was arguably way better than ours was last year. Ours was terrible last year. So that doesn't really, I don't see much hope in that. I don't know, maybe other people think otherwise. Again, I think really the only reason they brought him in is because he's cheaper than Cameron Wake, because everything else to me points towards Cameron Wake being better. I don't know. So we'll see. Free agency is around the corner. We'll see if Miami is done yet or not. I don't know. I keep reading conflicting articles about how we're making all this room and we have cap space, and others that are saying we still don't have cap space. I have no idea. I guess we'll find out in free agency if we're going to make any more moves, or if these couple moves that we just made were just about it until the draft. Again, I think these are moving towards us getting a lineman in the draft, which is what I really, really want us to get, because Ryan Tannehill to me is the guy, and we need to be able to protect him so that he can make those plays for us. I don't really think we need a receiver maybe in a later round, because we still have Devontae Parker, who came on at the end of last year, and Jarvis Landry, who's obviously a stud. And running back's going to be a need as well, but as long as we have a good offensive line, running back isn't going to be that big of a deal. Running backs are a dime a dozen. Most of the great elite running backs that have been in the league, at least as far as I am aware, at least as much as I know, a lot of them were late round draft picks. Not a lot of them were first rounders. There have been plenty of first round running backs in the league that did not pan out. So we'll see. I really want us to get a lineman. I think that's what we're probably going to get, because we also still have a Jaye or a JJ. I don't know how you say his name. I think it's a Jaye. And I think he will be solid. And it's still not even set in stone that Lamar Miller is going to be gone either, but it looks as if that's what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens. I'll try to make another video if some big news happens. But unless something big happens, this might be my last video until the draft, possibly. So we'll see. Go Dolphins, and I hope that these moves work out for us.